Good morning once again. The clock, as I see it, reads 9:30, and so does the agenda, which suggests that we need to start now. So keep in sync with the timeliness that we need to maintain and what we are actually acknowledged for not only delivering high-quality conferences, but also maintaining a strict time disciplining and valuing all of your time. We'd like to get started. My name is Dilip Raghavan. I'm happy to be here standing in front of all of you as the convener of this conference, the Indian Convention on Master Batches, Compounds and Additives for 2017, and also the editor and publisher of Popular Plastics and Packaging, which, as all of you know, you would have had an engagement with us over the last many decades. We are actually in our 64th year now as a publishing entity, serving the polymer industry and its varied interests, including packaging. It's a very, very nice occasion because this actually marks the 10th year and the 6th edition since the start of ICMBA. And while a lot of things have changed around us, the industry has moved ahead mostly for the better. We have a lot of new players, both at various links in the supply chain. We also have more sophisticated manufacturing practices, more sophisticated applications, more demanding customers, legislations, and a whole plethora of macro and micro factors that affect our industry, which actually shape its destiny. Amongst all this change, one thing tends to remain pretty constant, which is our unwavering commitment to this polymer industry, and specifically within the polymer industry, this particular vertical on master batches, compounds, and additives. When we convened the first ICMBA way back in 2007, it was a humble but sincere effort to build a community for this particular industry segment, which settles nicely under the larger ambit of the plastics and polymer industry. At that point in time, we had a lot of events, we had a lot of good industry associations who were already doing their bit to promote the industry. But what was sorely lacking is this kind of a community effort which dealt with specific verticals within the plastic industry. Because the plastic industry consists of, I need not tell you, but you got pipes, you got automotive, you got packaging, all of which, though connected by plastics, are fairly disparate from each other in terms of their supply chain sensibilities, in the sense of what their requirements are, in the sense of what the performance attributes are. So we had the plastic industry as a common element, but a significantly different need for each segment. And that is where I'd like to believe we pioneered this concept of creating very specific niche conferences and communities. We've set up ICMBA for all of you who are congregated here in your capacity as leading compound and master batch manufacturers, and of course the supply chain therein. We've also done similar exercises for the wire and cable industry, for the vinyl industry, for the vinyl compounding industry specifically, for the automotive plastics industry, for fire safety in plastics, to name just a few, and of course more recently our 3D printing foray, which is also going to be something that shapes the fortune of our plastics industry going ahead. So we've got these specific communities and conferences. We've also got the offline publication, as I said, for almost 7 decades now. And we've also introduced an online presence with our online partner Chemarc. And in fact, this conference, in keeping with sync with the way technology is progressing, we are actually even live streaming this conference as we speak. So a bit of technology at play. But those are just the peripherals. What we are here congregated for today and tomorrow is to actually have leading speakers in the technology space, predominantly concerned with master batch and compound manufacturing, be it the additive, be it the pigment, be it specialty, be it testing, or be it the manufacturing and capital equipment which actually goes into making these compounds. And the idea of having this two-day engagement has multiple objectives. One of them, of course, as I said, I keep harping on the community aspect. I think this community aspect is highly underplayed, and if we as a community can come together, learn more from each other, teach each other a little more, understand both our explicit and our implicit needs, I think that's a perfect template and a breeding ground for our industry to move ahead together. So we are very happy to be the convener for such a forum over the last many years. And I think we are extremely proud to have the kind of content and speakers. I'm sure all of you have seen it, that's why you're all here. But we're extremely proud to have this kind of content, I think for this particular industry, it's perhaps unparalleled anywhere in the world. So I take this opportunity to thank all my speakers for making this conference what it really is. And of course, though we have started, the next 2 days are important. We'll see where we go from there. But I think it's a good start made with the agenda. The second thing is, of course, to also try and create a neutral platform where all of you can come and, we are very clear that it's not rocket science, or it's not an inherent inability on your part to not be able to engage with each other. Of course, all of you are already in touch with each other, but a neutral forum like this, which allows you to kind of, in a slightly more relaxed atmosphere, discuss technologies, discuss problems, and not necessarily in a one-to-one basis, but on an open forum. I think it's also a very healthy thing for the industry, and that is why we are even more convinced that ICMBA is a value proposition for the industry. So with those little words, I think I'd like to get started. This was just an introduction. The real agenda begins now, because we have, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 26 speakers over the course of the next 2 days. And of course, it's a bit of a challenge to ensure the punctuality, and I think I would be failing if I did not set the correct tone to begin with. As I said, we have 26 speakers. We've tried to structure the presentations in some sort of logical sequence. Tomorrow would be predominantly concerned with color. Our master batch industry, and even compounding to a lesser extent, a lot of it does revolve around color, but I think the color element is hugely under-leveraged and underplayed. So we at ICMBA and Popular Plastics would like to take it upon ourselves to showcase better technologies, legislations, opportunities in the color gamut, and that is what tomorrow would deal all about. When we say colors, we are talking of blacks, whites, and of course colors, both with organic and inorganic chemistries included. Today's day would be concerned primarily with value addition through additives, additivation, a little bit of compliance and testing, and a whole lot of manufacturing technologies, which I think is also a cornerstone of our industry. The ability to manufacture better products with better energy efficiency, with better compliance to environmental considerations, is something that our industry needs to step up, and we are glad to have world leaders addressing us in that forum. So with that little background, I'd like to, before I call the speaker, just a few housekeeping instructions, just to let all of you know that we are in a secure environment, emergency exits, fire alarms, everything in place, so no worries, you can just focus on the agenda. We will also, with the permission of the speakers and audience, try and be extremely sensitive to the time discipline. There are 30 minutes for every speaker. It's at the speaker's discretion whether he chooses those 30 minutes for his narrative or would like to hold back a few minutes for question answers, but that 30-minute slot is going to be sacrosanct. We will move on, maintain the time discipline, and we seek your indulgence and cooperation in the same. Question answers, we have the volunteers with mics. You can just raise your hand. Time permitting, we will take these questions and have the speakers address us on that. Each speaker, worth adding, has his own table space, so if it's something more personal or if time does not permit, you can go and engage with them offline, making for a more meaningful and extended interaction and, consequently more respect and value for your time over the next 2 days. Please do also give us feedback. There are feedback forms over the next 2 days. Please do give us your feedback. Your feedback will actually shape what we do in the future for ourselves and, of course, for you. So there will be ample networking opportunities also. Please use those judiciously. And that's it. So let's say the stage is set, the introductions have been done, and I think we should really get started with the agenda. There will be more delegates coming in, but I think we should honor your presence here in a timely way and get started. So thank you once again, and with that I'd like to invite our first speaker. This is going to be, I should also remind you, a no-frills conference, okay? We want the emphasis and the focus to be entirely on the speakers and their time and their content. So we are going to do away with the frills, and I'm sure no one would take it amiss. It's going to be a simple introduction of each speaker, a one-line introduction, and then leave the stage to all of them for their bit. So thank you once again.